All right, so I'm guessing wait a couple minutes longer.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks, Ian, for telling us about that gallery view. That really helps.
Yeah. We're all going to be Zoom experts by the end of this. What's up, Eddie? Can't hear you, brother.
Nothing much. How you doing?
Good, man.
Cooking some bacon, so I was on mute.
Oh, I can smell it.
What is this about gallery view? Ooh. Oh, hide my video in gallery view? No, that wasn't it.
Top right-hand corner.
Right-hand corner.
Top right. You may have to mouse over it before the control.
It's on the.
I'm on my phone. Oh, there we go. Just swipe right. What's up?
I can smell the bacon from here.
Just a housekeeping question for you.
Yo,
It
what's up?
seems that when I set this up, I have to manually approve people to come in to the Zoom meeting. Is that how it normally is, or did I just press some weird setting?
No, that's how it normally is now. You can make it so that's not the default in the future.
Okay.
But it's a safety feature because folks are Zoom bombing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I just wasn't sure if that was something that I did wonky or what was going on with that. So I appreciate it. No, not yet.
Huh?
No, not yet.
Eddie? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Margaret. All right, both Margarets. Anyone heard from Brad?
All day. All day except for now. That guy was popping off at the open neighbors page.
Oh, yeah, he was posted prolifically. I thought he was pulling a Chris Gatsby there for a moment. Shit, man. Now I'm going to have to tell people, go back, fucking vote for Biden. I mean,
Yay, team.
dude, anything but Trump. I mean, I'm having a tough time. I'm really having a tough time. But I'm disappointed. Once again. Fuck, I'd even take Baby Bush back. That guy seemed lovable, didn't he? A lovable idiot.
I doubt that he
The towers went down.
page, though.
Hold on, kids. Yeah. It's like your crazy uncle. Well, no, Brad.
No, maybe I'll pop on.
Did you?
Give us just a second here.
Can we just pull it up on my phone? Got it.
So,
Outreach. Wait, here it is.
Got it. Okay.
And then I want to. These two files.
Okay.
Just so we have them.
Okay. And then we can share them with people that don't have them.
We can share the screen. when
We
you're
can
ready.
share the screen. Okay. Are you hosting? So you're going to share the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
I can do that.
All right.
your audio sounds awful.
Ours?
We're just kind of talking amongst
Sorry.
each other.
Is that better?
It's better.
No, we're just looking at some of the things to share the screen for people that aren't on our page. Christy had brought up earlier in the health committee meeting that she wasn't a member of the Whitaker board page. So I was just trying to get some of the information to her. But welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. And I wanted to thank Anon and everybody on the health committee for all their hard work. Ian, I want to thank you for all your hard work too. It's been awesome. Katie, putting together these things privately at your own home. Thank you very much. I certainly do appreciate it. Travis, bringing that wood over. We'll have things getting, we'll make them. We can make them tomorrow. But I just want to thank everyone on this board for all of their hard work.
And the people
And the people that aren't on the board.
that are still doing hard
Both
work.
the Margarets and Christy and Stephen. Stephen, I like you without your mask on. I liked your camera the last time. Not that the last meeting, 2 meetings ago, it kept zooming in and out the whole time. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
It's pretty peculiar.
It was pretty fun. Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
My brother does that when he wants to irritate you.
Well, I just wanted to maybe open it up. Does anyone have anything they'd like to say before the meeting? Open forum. Jeff, you're muted.
I can unmute him. There you go.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, so I was wondering, since our elections, we talked about that, and I just had an idea, like, is there a way that we could write in or entertain the possibility of having at least interim people in a crisis like this, like people who are taking an interest in being at the meetings and stuff to act as board members in an interim period until an election? I mean,
We could possibly add them to the WCC board page so they have access to what we're doing,
I think
even if they weren't.
I don't know, like, just to help with just to spread out workload and to have more people involved instead of everybody. Like, we get interim people who are interested, and then just like if they're still interested when we do have the meetings, they could nominate or be nominated. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think as far as sharing the workload goes, I mean, anybody that's interested in helping out and working with us, I mean, we'd be more than happy to use you. But I think as far as for voting purposes and for building our quorum, I'm not sure we would actually be able to have people on the board without having a proper election. So, I mean, that would give, because we are, the way that we are written, like, we have to go by, I mean, we don't have to go by we do have to go by our charter, but because we are like representative of a collective, like of a unit of people, we have to have them vote for people in and out on the board. And so by just placing people in there without having a public vote would be, I think, something that would be a core sort of no against our charter and how we operate. But I think definitely getting people into the board page, our Facebook page, and then getting people involved in whatever way they're interested in is something that we can do.
Right. I mean, I just think it's interesting because we're facing a lot of things that we've never faced before with this time. I don't know. I think it's just something to think about. Thank you.
I mean, I agree with you. I want to get more people involved. I mean, we could change our board of directors page to something similar to that. That doesn't require anything official. You know, basically that's just our chit chat back and forth.
Right.
I do like keeping it in a small group of people,
Right.
you know, but I think from all of the people that we have, or at least that has shown interest in being a member of this body, I wouldn't feel uncomfortable sharing with them.
Right.
On our board
I
page.
feel like a lot of
Especially
people.
now, to tell you the truth, because we certainly have a lot less of the craziness going on.
Right. But I think also a lot of people don't really know like what it's like to be on the board or like how much time it takes out of your weeks and stuff. Like, and I think that's why a lot of people just drop out when they do get elected. And I think for people to actually be involved in the type of discussion and process that we're into, for them to get that experience is kind of good. Then they're like, oh, well, I don't want to do that. Never mind. I'm not going to get voted in for an entire year, you know. So,
I think these Zoom meetings might open that up to them and show them a little bit more of what we actually do. You know,
right. I mean, it is easier to meet with people in the comfort of your own home where you can partake in your own beverages and, you know.
oh yeah. Well, and you know, we are going to be under these type of conditions for a bit. Social gathering is probably not going to be the same for quite some time. You know,
This is true.
I mean, unless Trump opens it back up May 1st, you never know.
But this is also an opportunity to think about what type of things that we might need to have in our charter to allow us to do things under emergency to help us be able to be an effective community. You know, so we're not being limited by some type of disaster.
That part is, I like that part of the conversation because right now there is nothing in there.
Right.
Interesting. Huh. What if we did some research on it and looked to see if there was a community council that did have emergency plans in place such as this? You know, I mean, God, I don't know if any of them. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Kate.
Oh, I think Ian might have some information on what other groups are doing. Yes, Ian?
So we have in the charter language that the chair can call emergency meetings when needed.
All right.
But it doesn't have guidance around if technology infrastructure goes away or, you know, if we can't hold a general meeting vote, you know, to Travis's point, in which what we did just recently. Other boards are, like right now, Jefferson Westside Neighbors, there he is, fashionably late. Hey, Brad. Yeah, Jefferson Westside Neighbors are hosting their April general meeting right now. And so it might go sideways, it might still exist, or they might still go forward with their vote. But yeah, I think a lot of nonprofits across the board, not just neighborhood associations, are kind of struggling with the same constraints that we are.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what type of language we would want to put into it, but That is definitely something to think about too. Yeah, this is a once in a lifetime event.
Hopefully.
Let's hope.
I really do hope. Anyone else? Brad, how are you? You're muted. We got
He's muted.
Okay, gotcha.
There you go.
Oh, you got it.
I'm
All's
okay.
well?
Yeah, well enough.
You look good. You're not getting too pasty from staying inside.
Yeah, I bought some of this Trump stuff. You put it all. Yeah, you can get it with or without orange.
Let me see around your eyes.
Is that a magic ball back there? Read my future.
Yeah, it's been shrinking every week though. It doesn't look good.
Oh no. Hopefully it's not a metaphor for the future.
All right.
Jeez, sorry, I was trying to pull this up.
That's fine.
Okay.
Sorry, I got a little stuck. Outreach campaign.
Yes.
I'm gonna see about this.
Can you get us back to the other?
Mhm. Okay. Sorry, writing something down so we don't.
All right, sorry. So I guess if no one else has anything to report in, Ian had written a few things down that go ahead.
Outreach campaign.
The outreach campaign, the language for that, is that what we're kicking around still and hoping to finalize today? You're muted, hold on, there you go.
I wanted to share the designs with everyone and kind of get people's design inputs, and then come up with a plan for when we're going to be able to finalize the language, send that back to Dubcat so they can do the final designs, and then hopefully, by next week we can, have final designs in so we can send stuff to the printer and send things to the billboard company and get stuff bought. And I also wanted to talk about a potential grant opportunity to get this funded as well. So if you make me the co-host, I can share it from my computer, share my screen.
Let's see if I can figure out how to do that.
So if you right click on me, like my screen, you can make me the co-host.
Is that the same thing as make host?
Actually, I think I can do this right now.
Oh.
Can you guys see?
Yes.
Cool. So this is the design, and again, this is just what we're really trying to show here is three things: design, how to space and what typefaces to use, and then logo placement. So kind of what I want everyone to have their input on is the design that we landed on is we wanted to go with a yellow background with black text, and that mirrors the state of Oregon's COVID campaign. 2, we wanted to talk about typefaces and placement, where we place certain language, and logo placement too, and then also talk a little bit about kind of where to have information. So again, this is just a first pass. We put the 2 different logos on either side so you could get a sense of like what would a logo look like on the left versus what would a logo look like on the right. But I kind of wanted to open it up to folks about sizing, what language we should put or what information we should put where, and kind of if we should change the typeface at all, because I know that's something that Katie shared before.
I like the simplicity of it. I like that we have the "we are all in it together," and then we also have the phone number, kind of exactly like we were talking about. Has anyone talked to Calc to make sure that they're okay with being sort of listed on there as a kind of point to go to?
So I reached out to Calc today, and I found out that 2 of the staff members that I knew are either on furlough or laid off. So I'm going to reach out to the board president later tonight. What I would say about the billboard is that I'd take away the hashtag, and I'd make the "for latest info on COVID-19" call bigger, and then I'd make the access to other resources bigger, and then I might move the Whitaker Community Council part of it to the center, just because I think it would look weird if one of the logos was on the left side. And I mean, there's not going to be a Dubcat logo there, but if it's on the left side or it's on the right side, it would kind of look weird to me.
Right.
But I wanted to see how other people felt about it. I think the yellow and the black turned out good. Kind of reminds me of like a pill bottle or like a snake or something. Like it's like you know, don't mess with me colors, and it kind of
No, I think it looks right. Yeah, I don't know about Calc.
I do like the hashtag with it because I think that, I mean, it just adds like something that's special, I think, for the community, but I don't think it needs to be that big or that.
Yeah, make it smaller.
Make it smaller.
Put it someplace else. That'll be fine.
Steven.
Sorry, Steven. Go ahead.
Yeah. Wondering about "we are," we're, WE''RE, but not being a native speaker of American English, I'm not sure the difference. For me, "we're all in this together" sounds more communal.
No wonder you're ignoring me. I'm muted. I'm sitting here going, but. I know I suggested we're all in this together, but I really like the "wit for each other" even better. And I wonder if we still want "we're all in this together" because it's been used so much already. But I would agree that even if we keep that, it could be smaller and the other stuff could be bigger. And the other thing is the Whitaker logo. The letters have to be black or you just can't see them.
So Annika gave me an older letterhead that we could use in place of that, and I know that has black letters. So, well, yeah, we might try 2 different designs for next time and bring them next Wednesday, where you can see this logo with black letters and like the old logo.
That'd be awesome.
This is for the billboard, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to show up. I mean, the size, it's going to be on a billboard. So even the white with the black outline, it separates it from the rest of the lettering. It separates the logo. If it were in black lettering, just all black, it would blend in with the same. If that makes sense.
Yeah, good point.
I like the white outline. And I do think it should be in the center.
You know, on the content, I don't like "we're all in this together" because I'd rather see "together!" exclam from a distance, just to remind people, don't get together. Because I'm seeing way too much of that.
All together 6 feet apart.
6 feet is actually not quite far enough. It turns out it's not even half as far enough.
Nope,
So
13.
I would just "together" from a distance would work better for me. I also don't like the hashtag, and I'd rather see the COVID-19 bigger. So I mean, I would just get rid of the hashtag "together" and put "for latest info on COVID-19 call" and make that the bigger part right where the hashtag is. But What do I know? I'm aesthetically blind.
It makes sense.
I mean, I would move the hashtag over. You know, we could like put it down to the corner somewhere, and like Brad said, bring up for latest info call, or and then if you wanted to, Brad, we could do we're all in this together from a distance.
Well, you,
And make it a little comedic.
That actually kind of is funny. I like that.
the problem is you've got to shrink the number of letters, because you know, a billboard that has too many letters, nobody's going to read any of them.
Right.
It would still be kind of funny though, you know.
I saw this thing the other day. United we stand, divided and we fall is just crossed out.
Uh-huh.
And divided. Yeah.
I really like the wit for each other, though. I really like that a lot.
I do too. I think it's clever and cute.
Yeah, whose clever and cute idea was that?
Ian?
Maybe Ian knows. I was thinking it was Chris's or Annika's, but
No.
I don't know. Is that you, Ian?
Yeah, I thought, you know, we should do something because it's going to be the same hashtag for like the social media campaign, and we can like put it on the like everything and have the same messaging. It's just like a cool idea that we've got each other's backs and stuff.
It is a cool idea, and I think that especially, I mean, there's lots of, I mean, social media posts, and not even just like us, but people posting like stuff in the Whitaker, and like they'll use like the hashtag like Whitaker and stuff like that. So something that could be specific to COVID and something specific for us, I think is a cool little idea, and it definitely brings it all together.
Yeah. I mean, we really want to get the latest information out, and then that number has access to resources. So, I mean, what if we just dropped the access to other resources completely and then just made that our sign? You know?
Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, I was going to say, move the wit for each other, like maybe down to the right somewhere. Bring the Whitaker Community Council up. We could change the "We are all in this together," or we could keep it. I mean, you know, but like Brad said, we don't want people to get together.
I like it. We're all in this together at a distance.
Or we're together at a distance.
We're all in this together.
What about advertising the Zoom conference chats, getting people involved that way? I think it would be a good way to show them what we do for the neighborhood on a regular basis too.
I think that might work, but not on the billboard. The billboard, like Brad is saying, has to be punchy. It has to be short. I think even right now we have too much going on.
Yeah.
But what Dane brought up during the Dubcat meeting was, what do we do for people who don't have phones?
I love calc on there. Yeah.
And so having calc on there with their Friday feeding, because they do it every Friday, they could be the place. And I don't know if they're comfortable with this. I need to, you know, I found out today that the two staffers don't work there anymore.
Yeah.
Do they feel comfortable? And you know what? Fuck it. I'll just show up on Friday. That'd probably be the best way. Just being like, hey guys, what's up? Do you feel comfortable? If they don't respond tomorrow, I'll just show up on Friday.
It was the people from Whitebird that were running it there.
Yeah, but I know I've met him before at New Day, like one of the former board presidents of yeah, he was there. So
glasses.
Yep. Skinny dude.
Yeah. I can't remember his name right now either.
So if anybody else wants to help design the final language for the other pieces, we have draft language that Katie and I worked on for the flyer, for the sandwich boards, for the third pagers, like the ones that Annika suggested, like the little skinny pieces for the 7-Eleven that your friend said that we should have. and we're working on social media copy in addition to the billboard. So if anybody wants to help on it, let me know, and I'll send you the Word doc, or I'll make a Google Doc, and I'll send you the link so that folks can tinker around with it. Does anybody else want to help with it?
I'm interested.
Okay, Annika's interested. Christy, Stephen, Brad.
Not this week.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Then I will send that after this. I'll make a Google Doc and send it to folks.
Thank you.
Yep.
I was trying at our last meeting to put my suggestions onto a file, and obviously I can't do it on my phone. So if you can do that.
Yeah, I did. I took your suggestions and I added it to it.
Thanks.
Yeah, baby.
Ian, you would also had down a WCC letter.
Yeah. So Brad and I have been working on this thing. And by Brad and I working on it, I mean Brad and I worked on it, and then I didn't work on it, and then Brad has been poking me for about the past week. So we're getting closer now. And I wanted to talk about kind of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things we're asking for. And the first one is asking for designated temporary shelter sites, so that the city would work with us to place these temporary shelter sites. The second is we're asking for parks to be opened up as temporary shelter sites as well, placing additional hand washing stations around the neighborhood, placing additional restrooms, and then partnering with Whitebird to transition I can't remember what they called it. The city called it like the resource hub. It's the site where they wanted to do the resource center into a place where a Whiteboard could do supply distribution as well as hygiene for folks. And since we originally talked about the letter, a lot's changed, but I still think those 5 things are good. I talked to Lieutenant Doug Mozan today in Eugene PD and heard back from Jason at the city's Emergency Operations Center. And right now, the city is not doing any enforcement for street campers. They're not doing any. The police is not forcing people to move on the street. The only enforcement that they're doing is in city parks. So they're not allowing folks to camp inside parks, but they are allowing people to camp on the street, which seems kind of like a little bit backwards to me. But
actually, if you look at the memo they sent out, they're protecting neighborhood parks, but not citywide parks. For example, Scobert would be protected, but not the bike path area along the river.
And that's absolutely right.
People are camping in Scobert Park. Right?
They are. And that's because no one's reached out to the police and asked them not to. And yeah, Brad's absolutely right. It's just neighborhood parks. It's not city infrastructure. Yeah.
So there was a tent out front of Grizzlies today, and the police were rounding up people. I don't know if they were asking them to move, but the guy did move. I wondered if Margaret could elaborate on that. Do you know anything about?
Margaret, you're muted right now.
I got you, Margaret.
Okay. I don't know about that. I know that only if there's a crime per se, not just prohibitive camping.
I can't
There
hear.
is some enforcement, but it's so rare right now that.
Hey, Margaret, can you speak a little bit closer to the microphone? We're having some trouble to hearing you.
Sure. Is that better?
A little bit.
Better?
It's still kind of echoey.
Is that better?
Yes.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, just what you said, what Doug Mozan said. Yeah, we're not really doing any enforcement at all. I'm not aware of that incident that the previous person just spoke about, so I don't really have any information on that. I wasn't aware of that.
So in terms of what we're asking for, There's 5, we called them rest stops or hygienic shelters a couple of weeks ago. The city's calling them now temporary, hold on, I got the right language, designated temporary shelter sites. And the 5 that we had identified were the skate park, Campbell Center, Lamb Cottage, Scobert Park, and then there's one I want to propose just right around the corner from my house. It's on 5th Street that goes kind of towards the Mission, towards Chambers, near this medium light industrial area. But I didn't know if those were still the right asks right now, given that things have changed so much and that the city's already added bathrooms and hand washing stations. I know that we need more bathrooms because there's still a lot of feces around the neighborhood, at least where I live. But I didn't know if those were the right 5 things to ask. Temporary shelter sites, allowing folks to camp in neighborhood parks. I need to see the Stevens hands up. Additional bathrooms, additional hand washing stations, and partnering with Whitebird.
Yeah, the map shows a hand washing station at the end of North Polk, where it meets the bike path, but I don't see that physically on the ground there.
Stephen, it's over towards the parking lot, because I asked them to move the restrooms and the hand washing station into the parking lot, because they had one proposed for on the Greenway Bridge, a hand washing station. And they somehow the message got garbled, or the implementation did. So they put the hand washing station on the bike path over by the parking lot instead of in the parking lot, and they didn't move the porta potties over there. And my reason behind that is because COVID-19 is found in fecal matter of infected patients most of the time. And having porta potties, on a main thoroughfare bike path is a really bad idea. And they didn't get it.
So it's over
the hand washing station is over by the parking lot, and the porta potties aren't.
The parking lot that you get to from River Road, is that the one?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that. I'll look for it next time I go over to Penny's to get my produce.
Okay.
So Brad, it's over by the bridge right now?
No, it's over by, the hand washing station is over by the parking lot, where the soccer field is.
Okay.
So just west of the soccer field, east of the parking lot.
Okay, and where would you recommend?
I would recommend putting both the hand washing station and the porta potties in the parking lot itself.
Stephen?
I subscribe to quite a lot of water type communications, and many communities are now doing tracing of COVID through wastewater analysis. So they're able to identify clusters before they become apparent to public health agencies. So it's being used as a detection mechanism now in the water treatment plants.
Oh.
So you can zero in on a neighborhood and then look more closely at a neighborhood that's generating more of the virus in fecal matter coming through to the treatment plant from particular neighborhoods.
Is that being done here? Do you know?
As far as I know, it's not being done here, but that would be something that eWeb, does eWeb do the wastewater treatment?
No.
No, it's the city.
No, it's actually not even the city. It's a region-wide thing. So Eugene and Springfield do that together.
Okay, yeah, I don't have any connections there at all. And I'm not aware of it being done locally, but it's being done experimentally in some parts of the country, and it's being done with enough success that it's being recommended to more generally on discussion groups. This is publications that are for wastewater treatment engineers and people like that.
Yeah, they were doing it in the Netherlands about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So it's been going on for a while.
Yeah, I saw the Netherlands report too.
That's pretty straight up. A friend of a friend did his doctoral work way back in the 80s, where he literally just went to sewage and identified 19 new viruses. So
It's also used to trace illegal drug consumption, because the drugs show up in the waste stream also. That's how it originally started. So don't flush it down the loo necessarily. Caffeine is a good indicator too. If it's surprisingly resilient when it gets into the waste stream. But that's still legal, I'm told.
So hey, circling back to Ian, I didn't hear any objection to those 5 points. If that's part of what we needed to get out of this, I think, I've just part of the opening up the parks just reminds me of. Did you see on the news in the Jefferson West Side how they had utilized DPD to rouse those campers out of there? I mean, I really don't think that that's a smart thing to be doing in this time. I don't want that to be done to any of our people in these parks.
I know.
And like right now, we have a large part of Scoburg Park that's unused, and it's actually gated off. It could be potentially a good site for some housing. It would just need to be run by somebody. But I mean, that entire back area, I don't know. I mean, the more I think of it, it's like we have some of this right here. I know. What's that?
Under the bridge too, there's a bunch of huge space that's dry and gated.
When the Conestoga huts, the ones that Chris and I built, that were super easy to build, I mean, they're not a perfect option, but they're definitely better than a nothing option, and they can go in a temporary spot. They can go up in as little as 2 hours, and so it's a good option too, in addition to tent sites.
$1,200 for the materials per unit, and then with a team that knows how to do it, it's 2 hours to construct. Hour and a half. But
But you could fit like at least half a dozen of those in the back area that's just closed off at Scoburg Park.
We would just need some form of services too. The city would have to at least manage hand washing, the toilets, and then maybe we could figure out a way to have showers. I don't know. I mean, maybe we could also do a GoFundMe.
Solar showers. It's definitely a doable thing.
Well, I think there's trailers that you can rent. And they just have potable or water that's in them that people can use, and small amounts of privacy. But
back to the letter.
Yeah, back to the letter. Go ahead.
Back to the letter. There's two parts I'd like to make sure in there. Assuming the city does some of these resource camping areas for people, we need to make absolutely certain that they are small enough and supervised enough that they function as households, not as places where people are just mixing, so that if one person gets infected, hundreds do.
Yeah.
And the second part is, I think we really need to push the city to get the campers off of the streets. We've got Dan the Catman in the van on my street, who's holding parties, meeting with every other homeless person on my street, including one who was across the street from them at Anons, and every other one who passes through. He's meeting with a homeless guy who got taken in by a neighbor. That neighbor has himself in his 90s, his son who just went to the hospital today, and his son's girlfriend are all going to die of this thing if they get it. And what do I see? That the EMTs who take his son to the hospital have no clue how to protect themselves. So if Dan the Catman gets it by camping on the street and mingling with every other person, he's not doing social distancing, he spreads it to that house, who spread it to the EMTs, we're fucked. So we need to get the city to like understand the situation that they're turning loose.
Brad, I don't disagree with you at all. Just from my conversation with Lieutenant Mozan today, and from my conversations with the folks at the EOC, like they're already conflating Ted and Jefferson West Side neighbors with the Whitaker because we're asking campers to get off the streets. Like on my street on Almaden, like Jeff Althouse, the owner and CEO of Oakshire, is like one of my neighbors. He lives on the street. And he's like, this is ridiculous. Like there's people pooping in the alley, like right next to my house. And I was like, yeah, it is. But people won't move. I think we make the ask to move folks off the street and start doing enforcement again when we present a solution of, look, these are these sites, like you said, these households, and we place, we place the caveats of, we know how vulnerable the unhoused are. We know how this spreads. This is our solution, and we're willing to be a part of the solution because we've identified these sites. But it has to be a tit for tat. I mean, we need to identify these cities, and we need to ask the city to ease some restrictions too. People are already camping in Scobert Park. Asking for people to camp in Scobert Park seems like a no-brainer because we're asking them to camp in a certain way. It's not we're asking for unrestricted, unsheltered street camping. What we're asking for is the same thing that exists, at a couple of other sites for the designated temporary shelter sites that the city's doing in partnership with Whitebird. Because, that seems to work. What I'd like to do is to have more of them in the Whitaker so that folks who are camping on the street in the Whitaker have a place to go off of the street.
Agreed.
My guess would be that if you talk to the people that lived around Scobert Park, that they probably have the same views about the people living in the park that you guys have about people living on your street, camping and pooping in the alley. So what about the people that live around the park?
Right.
I mean, who's going to ask them how they feel about having a community in there, and who's going to be responsible to make sure it doesn't turn into a big party?
At the point that we're building Conestoga huts and asking for resources, I feel like it's obligatory to make a contract. Like, do you feel like sheltering in place is important? Like, do you understand that not being a social person is what you need to do right now? And it should be very provisionary who gets that opportunity, because we don't want it to fill our neighborhood with contagion, Same thing as closing down the salon. I love the salon, but it just needed to be done.
Yeah.
So the designated temporary shelter sites are only open to people who go to Whitebird first, because that's become the distribution center. So that's on 341 East 12th.
Yeah,
so you need,
I know where that is.
Yeah, you need to go there first before you have access to one of the designated temporary shelter sites. So, I'm saying that we should ask for street camping enforcement, but only after we have these sites in place, because to me, it's kind of like a 1-2 punch. It's saying that, like, now we have the capacity, but we also need to have the enforcement too, because people are, partying on my streets and not sheltering in place, who are tent camping and who are hanging out with each other. So yeah, it just seems like we won't get very far with the city unless we're presenting them with the solution that we're coming up with.
All right.
That makes sense.
Do you think that outreach for these people? I know outreach helps, but if we had someone, or at least partnered with some agency, say Whitebird, to reach out to the people that are on the streets who are, exhibiting unsafe behavior in the neighborhood.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
I didn't want to interrupt. At the point we're building Conestoga huts and asking for money for resources like this, I think it's kind of obligatory to make a social contract with the people we're sheltering. Do you believe it's right to shelter in place? Do you know what that implies? I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like it's more important to pick people out of the Whitaker that need a place to shelter in place rather than just go through Whitebird. Am I wrong? Question mark?
I mean, Whitebird's just they're already doing that role. So the city is coordinating with Whitebird, and Whitebird is the social service provider that's making that contract happen with folks before they're put in the designated temporary shelter sites.
Can we send people that we care about, like Jesus, perhaps? You know, he might be able to not have a part. No.
Yeah, I see
don't
what
know.
you're saying.
You're right.
Well, maybe that's part of our outreach
But I would
then.
love to have the people that I see day to day that need a place rather than just go through a lotto at fucking Whitebird.
Right. Well, I mean, identifying the spots within the Whitaker, I think is our first step, you know. I really don't think that we have any place that is concrete. And Margaret brought up something that, you know, it is obvious for us that we need this to happen, but where is very important. So the neighbors around there are equally as important in the decision-making process, you know, because you can't shove something into a neighborhood without, I mean, it's just not going to work. But we do have some sites. I mean, you know, that whole back part of Scobert Park, you know, it wouldn't even impact the front of the park at all. It's where Scobert Garden, it's beautiful back there too. I mean, even if you sheltered 4 people back there, there's plenty of space that they would all be separated from each other. I don't know. I mean, I would like to identify that as one of the spots. And also maybe do some outreach to the neighbors for that. But should we get back to the letter? Keep looking at Brad. Okay, back to the letter. Was there anything else that anyone else had anything to say about this letter? And then we'll share the letter on our page and email. Is that correct, Ian?
Yeah, anyone who wants to be a part of the drafting process with Brad and I, you can let me know right now. I'll have the final draft to Brad tomorrow. And it's not the final draft, it's just the latest draft to Brad tomorrow. And I know kind of how to be able to phrase it now since we've gotten a response for the NLC on our letter to Sarah Maderi, the city manager. So yeah, it just has to be written in a certain way to be able to get a response. And yeah, the city's just going to be slow to take action, but I feel that they're going to be a little bit swifter when responding to some of our asks versus others because they so desperately need additional designated temporary shelter sites for folks who are unhoused.
Could you guys possibly post it up on the Board of Directors Facebook page so we can see it?
Yeah, when I send it to Brad tomorrow, I'll also upload it to the private group page as well.
Yep.
And I can email it to folks who are not on the private messenger group, like Christy and Steven.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right.
Margaret's as well.
Oh, with that being in mind, does anybody who's not in that group, I mean, I think we kind of talked about it being okay to add people into there. So if you guys aren't a part of the group, Christy, Steven, Margaret, Margaret, do you guys want me to add you?
Yeah, please. Yes.
Okay.
Does anyone in
Steven?
sorry, go ahead.
You don't need to add me to the list. I will stay in touch on these Wednesday meetings.
Did anyone on the board have any objections to that? Perfect.
Dubcat?
Dubcat.
Dubcat's working on one grant for virtual art walk. We talked about it before, but I just wanted to see how the board wanted to review anything we submit? Because I know in the past that's been a problem.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be great to see it.
Okay. Yeah, that's super easy. It'll be done by the first draft of it is going to get reviewed this weekend. So I'll post it to the group page. It's to get funding for artists to do like virtual studio tours and workshops for folks.
Okay.
Sounds good. You know, one of the things I keep thinking about, and I can't get it out of my head is why aren't we utilizing our motels and our hotels? You know, if we're talking about, you know, trying money, I know we're trying to provide shelter for people, but I mean, we're in a crisis right now, and I don't know. I don't know why that chatter isn't getting louder in the community, you know, because was it San Francisco or Oakland that they were going to shelter people in place in like a huge auditorium, and they had this car drive-by protest where they drove by and everyone was honking their horn, and I think it was Gavin Newsom, but they ended up sheltering people in hotels, and it was an easy place to provide services. So, I mean, I don't know.
Is that okay?
That was just my thought. I'm sorry.
So I do know that they discussed that before they opened up the fairgrounds and did that, and discussed it with the hotel owners, and you know, they all want to get paid. It was extremely expensive. It was much more expensive than using assets like the fairgrounds, like a park, things along those lines.
But what are the consequences in the long run going to be? You know,
Well, I understand that, but you
I
know,
mean,
anything short of that, if a hotel isn't willing to negotiate, and you're talking about making them do it, then
you can
know,
make them do it though. See, that's the thing. You know, it is an emergency situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is the time when, I mean, look, nobody's got any money. You know, hotels would be guaranteed 100% occupancy. You know, they're certainly not going to get that for a long time.
Right, and I'm not disagreeing. You're
Oh,
talking
I know.
sort
I
of
just,
martial
whenever I
law.
hear the word money, I'm just like, money's not even real anymore. I mean, look around, you know, this is nuts. You know, this is so nuts.
Well, I think you've got a good case for saying that unless they've tested positive for the virus, if they say the city can't, you know, rent out those rooms, it's just pure discrimination.
Right. Well, and if we don't have any tests, then we don't know who has it. So
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
and that's what's going on right now, you know. But oh well. I mean, and I don't know. That's something that I just want to explore a little bit more on my own, in certain conversations I have with people. But what was the other thing? Brad, did you have something on the Open Neighbors group that you want to talk about at this meeting?
Yeah, we can talk about it now, I guess.
Okay.
I thought we should change our pinned post to something that's more COVID centric. You know, I just had a couple of points. You know, I'm going to take them in the reverse order I put them before. You know, I remind people that we're all under stress right now. I mean, if you're not, then you're lucky, but everyone's feeling it. So, you know, try to make a little allowance for everybody to mess up and give them space. But also to remind people to, you know, stay to your household, don't blend your households, and you know, give people space as best you can. You know, and try to put up some of the supporting work. You know, explain what's going on, explain the virology to people in sort of layman's terms, so they can follow what's going on.
Okay. And was that the language that you had written in there that you thought?
Oh, I just gave an outline, so that was just like these things, you know.
Okay. Ian. Oh, hold on, you're muted.
Sorry.
Not the right.
I love Tim's Whitaker, the End of the World series for so many reasons. I really feel like it brings us all together. But fuck me if Tim is not practicing social distancing. I mean, I swear, the thing at the park, man, the thing at Scobert Park scared me. You know, like, we can't keep doing that. Brad is so right.
I had nothing to do with any of that.
I know you didn't, and I saw you on the video just like, no, Tim, don't do that. But you know, yeah. But still, like, we gotta keep.
That's hilarious.
We gotta keep pushing this message, because you know, it's not just the unhoused that are getting it. Like, I'm hearing stories about people going on Tinder dates. I'm hearing stories about people, you know, going out of state to California to visit their girlfriends and boyfriends. It's like pretty, yeah, it's pretty weird.
You're not going to stop sex. I'm sorry, you're not. I mean, I am the main STI tester for Lane County, and I can tell you, no matter what's going to go on, people are going to have sex. Now, mind you, having said that, I think it'd be great if we sponsored an online sex chat thing, so that people could just do it online and not necessarily physically interact, right? I mean, from a practical point of view, who knows? It might actually work.
A non-chatterbait.
That's right.
I don't know. It was called AOL chat room.
2000.
Yeah, I don't know. Would we sell for the content though?
Well, you had to be
out of work. You know, the sex industry's hurting right now.
Yeah.
They're still not getting stimulated. No stimulus checks for them.
Well, but you got a good point, Ian. I mean, and Brad, you've got a great point. You know, anything we can do to keep this up. Honestly, this is going to go on for a very long time. You know, until we've got a safe, effective, widely distributed vaccine, we're going to have to keep a lot of this stuff up. And any way we can encourage people to keep that physical distancing while staying social, anything that we can do to help with that is probably a good idea.
We need to have signs down on the bike path, Brad, because people are taking walks, and obviously they're not from the same household. Women, you know, walking together, 2 or 3, and just right side by side, chatting away, no mask.
Christy and then Ian.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I overlook the bike path where the ducks are. And that's my bedroom window. And so I'm out there every day feeding the ducks, but trying to get away from people is much more of a challenge now.
Right.
Having to walk further in the fields to go over to the cherry tree instead of on the path, as people I don't think really realize that 6 feet is not sufficient when you're jogging, riding a bicycle. Some more information for folks would be better.
Yeah. Ian?
So my physical therapist called me today because they're like, oh, we're ready to start scheduling appointments again. And I was like, what? And I've told Brad this. They're not doing telehealth, and they're like, yeah, we're going to start taking appointments on the 28th of February. And so we're not just facing this or 28th of April. We're not just facing with this with people. Businesses are starting to get desperate too. And they gave me a slew of, you know, control measures, like taking people's temperatures when they're in their cars, doing screenings, asking folks if they're well. But that doesn't stop people who are asymptomatic, like you were talking about earlier, Chris. And folks are running out of money. Businesses are not capitalized for this level of inactivity. So, you know, once folks start getting stir crazy, I don't know. I'm just going off because I think that the language and changing that on the Open Neighbors page is a start, and we just got to keep it going through the flyers, and keep it going through our conversations with our neighbors, and keep it going, you know, by wearing our masks outside. You know, I was thinking how fun it would be if DebCat sponsored like a mask contest. So we did like, yeah,
that's cool.
So Stephen needs to take off his glasses before he's eligible for the mask contest. But yeah, just like trying to make it fun and make it weird and make it like feel like home, because
the new normal.
The new normal, yeah, totally. Because I feel like people are so eager to get back to the old normal, which will never exist again, full stop, that they're forgetting that like, yeah, things are very, very different right now. And we need to make sure that everybody's on the same page.
I agree. I think the Dubcat mask thing would be kind of cool.
It'd be fun.
I mean, that would be a good way. There's a lot of people making masks these days too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like baking. People are learning how to bake again.
Well, one thing we haven't talked about tonight in this meeting is the yellow flyer or newsletter.
That was next on my list.
Okay, good. Maybe we should like do the same thing on the Facebook page and kind of come up with some ideas and put them all together. Or do we have that much time?
We have.
Yeah. No. Do we
days.
want to? Well.
Hammer out the yellow flyer.
Do we want to hammer out the yellow flyer now?
It might be hammering if we have to decide about whether we're going to do any kind of voting or information voting.
That's the thing. So, okay, so it takes about 10 days to get out from when we give them the information to when it gets into people's homes, and that's generous. Usually it takes about 7 days, but with that being said, yeah, we need to decide if we even do a yellow mailer, or if we even do a mailer, what kind of information do we want on it? Because typically it would cover for the next 3 months. We don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 months. So we don't know if we're only going to be doing Zoom meetings. We don't know if we're going to be able to meet in person. We don't know if what is happening. So we have to do a complete 360 from what we know and try something completely different, I think, for this mailer.
I wanted to bring something from the previous meeting into this one. Anon was talking about getting some information out. I don't know if we could get all of the information on the yellow mailer, but I mean, why don't we use this yellow mailer to get our information out to everyone that has an address in the Whitaker? You know, COVID information, information about social distancing, information about, you know, who to call for any help. You know, would we list Calc on there, or would we list, you know, Whitebird? If we're going to be in this for a little bit, also, you know, look to Zoom, and because we can't have the same meeting number each week. So if we couldn't put, you know, the meeting number, go ahead, Ian.
We can schedule the meetings in advance, even months in advance. Mm-hmm. So we could potentially have the meeting ID for future meetings if we wanted to use the WCC Zoom account, and so those could be static.
And if it's scheduled regularly, you can use the same number each time, right?
I don't know about that.
We're doing weekly meetings, family meetings, and we have the same number we use each week.
Oh.
I think you can. The other option would be, I think I've mentioned this a million times before, that Google number, and leaving that as a number to call, and then leaving the voicemail or leaving information about what Zoom, what the password or what the thing is. I forget what they're even called.
Meeting ID.
What the meeting ID is for that day. So people are able to call in or text this phone number, get the information they need, and then get it that way too if they're not on social media or if they're not on the internet.
That brings up a question of, is there a method that people who only have landline phones can use?
Yes.
Yeah, let's use this Google line or the Google number.
Well, and yeah, so for using Zoom, I mean, people would be able to access Zoom by just calling in. So you do have that option as well. Mm-hmm. But for people that don't have access to the internet, they still wouldn't be able, if we're changing the meeting ID and we're posting this on Facebook, then they're not going to have the meeting ID for each time. So that's where that Google number would come in handy, and we could I mean, we could play with it, see how it works, and go it. I mean, make changes as needed.
You might try to schedule the next couple of months meetings and see if it gives you the same number for each one.
Okay.
Especially if it was the board and the council, or if we just scheduled a meeting for every Wednesday from 7 to 8:30. Because we have been meeting weekly. I really like, Ian sent a demonstration of the flyer for the Northeast neighbors, and that was really good. They got a lot of information on one card. But we did talk at our last meeting about maybe we would put information about nominees for the board and some way people could vote by hand in, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Well, let's see. Ian, would you mind sharing your screen again and showing the newsletter for the other neighborhood?
Yep.
The door's cold.
Oh shit.
Sorry, it's just going to take a second.
That's okay.
Can you all see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is what the first part of it looks like. You know, I think it's good, but I think we can do better. It starts out with where to find help, and then one number that's good for all questions. They actually got this idea from us. So during the NLC meeting, I said, hey, I talked to the folks at the COVID-19 call center, and I told them that they felt comfortable fielding all types of calls. And so that's why they put that number there. But on the second page, Anand, this is where the information about food is from. So I thought that kind of gets at what you talked about before.
Right.
With there being a lot of food.
Cool. Very nice.
Resources to find food.
There's some good information there.
Yep.
I think we could probably add to it.
Yep.
Well, we also have half the space.
Yeah, that's an issue.
So, and I would want, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of torn, like, would we want to include all the like as much information as we want, or do we want to focus on what sort of help is specifically in the Whitaker? If we're going to be including all this information on the flyer.
Well, what was available to people in the Whitaker, it wouldn't necessarily have to come from Whitaker. If it was food delivery and stuff like that, you wouldn't necessarily have to focus just on something coming from Whitaker.
Right.
As long as it was stuff coming to people living there.
Mm-hmm. Like meals for children, obviously we would update with whatever was in the Whitaker.
Right. Yeah, obviously, yeah.
But I agree. It's like Meals on Wheels.
Yeah, that covers everybody.
Yeah.
Including people in Whitaker.
And then we would just have to find our Whitaker food pantries or food.
Yeah, I've got a list of some of those.
So Cahoots. So I wonder what our cost would be to go for the size instead of just a yellow mailer. Katie, you're muted. I saw you.
Is this 8.5 by 11?
Looks like it.
It does look like it.
Okay, and then it's folded in half and stapled. Yeah. Yeah, we'd need that much space.
Oh.
I think we should see if we should go ahead, Ian.
I was going to say that we could apply for a neighborhood matching grant to be able to fund some of the outreach for this, and I think we would be able to get it if we wanted to pay for some of it and have the city pay for the other part of it. and I think we can use our outreach funds to pay for some of it. Annika, did you ever hear back from Cindy? Do you know if we have any money left?
No, I have not heard back from her.
Bummer.
But I'll try again.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea how long it would take to get an answer for the matching grant stuff? Because sometimes that can take quite a long time.
No, they've signaled, Rini signaled that they'd be able to move quicker than usual.
Ah, good.
So why don't we take this opportunity to actually get all this information out to people in the Whitaker? And I mean, we could figure out the money. Go ahead. What?
No.
Oh, I was going to say we could figure out the money ahead of time. We could call them and ask them, what it's going to cost and what the difference is.
Sure.
So does this sound like something we want to move forward with instead of the yellow mailer? Ian?
I think we should see how much money's left in our thing in the city's coffers. I don't know. Yeah.
and then we could, we do have some money that we could pay for it until we would get the grant,
And the grant wouldn't pay for all of it, it would just pay for part of it. It would
Yeah.
pay for half.
Half, right, yeah.
And then part of it would already be paid for because the city already pays for our yellow mailer.
Right.
I would have to see how that all works together. But
Yeah, if we can get the information on it on one card or one whatever it is, that'd be great.
okay.
Okay, so is this something that we want to commit to working on for the yellow mailer? Using the template that Ian has provided? Okay. So Brad, you're going to go ahead and take care of it all?
Oh, Ian's got it 90% done already. I wouldn't want to step on him.
Anon, if you want to help put some of those resources together, I've got the template for our front half.
Yeah, I'm committed to making sure I get everything that I know about up on the board of directors thing, or I could email it to you directly or whatever, or both.
Okay.
I mean, the more people know about the resources, the better.
And this is information too. Sorry, I'm just thinking about this. This is information
Sure.
too that can go onto our website, so we can
Sure.
make
Yeah.
a specific section on our website and link people up to resources.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So my question is, are we still going to have a little blurb about our meetings and how to access our meetings on Zoom?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And just wait for now about voting.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
yeah, I want to figure that out too, but I think we probably need to get this information out. We've been sitting on a lot of information and you brought that up earlier. We'll check, Annika and I or Ian on his end, we can check and see if we schedule the Zoom meetings, if we could have the same identification number, and then we could go ahead and print that number on there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, but I want to make sure, and we can find that out tomorrow. But if
Yeah.
we could get all of this information together by, I don't know, Monday. Monday's 10 days.
No, that's not what I meant. 10 days. 10 days for once. If we got the stuff to the printer on Monday, then it would be approximately the 1st that this would be in people's hands.
So if we got everything to the printer by Monday, everybody could get it on the 1st.
Cool.
Roughly.
Roughly.
That's kind of how it works. But would we want to also include the Google number on there, or do we want to save that for something else?
Why not?
Yeah, we can use it, and plus we can change the message on the Google number. Like
Right.
one week we could have Anon give an update, if he wants to. But you know what I'm saying is it's 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a 3-minute audio that, I mean, we can change as things do update too, especially in the Whitaker.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah, the more information we can get out, the better. That'd be great.
Yeah. So we'll put something that has the COVID number on there again.
Yep.
Yep.
Something maybe that's kind of funny that says, what is it? We're all in this together from afar. I mean, something. Yeah.
What
And then
about
maybe,
the wit thing? What
yeah,
is
and
it?
put our hashtag in there too.
Yeah.
Ian,
When's the deadline to have this finalized for Annika?
Monday.
This
So
Monday?
that's what we're saying. Normally it's a little bit. Normally it would be a week from now is when, okay, because it takes about 10 days from when the stuff goes in the printer's hands to when it gets out to people's houses. And so theoretically, if we were on our normal schedule, we would want this to be in people's hands by the 6th at the latest. So if we're shooting to have stuff done on Monday and then have it be in people's hands by the 1st, we're in good shape. Yeah, but since these aren't normal meetings though either, and we're having pretty much weekly meetings, I think it's a good idea to just get this out as soon as possible because, like Chris said, we're sitting on a lot of information and we're excluding a lot of people by not having this information out there yet.
Steven.
The mailer will be, this newsletter mailer thing, will that be going only to people who are eligible to vote?
No. So it goes out, it's a yellow mailer is what we've typically called it. It's been white a couple times in the past history, but it's a little half sheet that has all the information. So when we would have our normal, yes, Katie has it. There it is.
Yeah, we get it. We keep it on our refrigerator.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So that goes out to all addresses in the Whitaker. So in order to be eligible to vote, they would have to also be in a meeting in the last year. So.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but it gets in touch with every single address in the Whitaker.
So that rules out the suggestion I was going to make of including a code number in the address field that would then people could use when they vote. And that could be used as a control, but that doesn't work if it goes to more people than are eligible.
Right. And it wouldn't work too in case some households have like more than one person. So, but I like how you're thinking about that.
Yeah, I think with the voting aspect, and sorry to jump in, we're going to have to target those voters. We're going to have to find a way to identify those people who were unable to reach via emailing them.
I've been giving a lot of thought to how to do the voting, and I haven't really come up with anything yet. And
and it's a
the
certain
address
select
box was
group.
just something that was just not workable, but that was just something that occurred to me. But it's a separate discussion on how to do the voting.
Well, and it is just because, I mean, we're really going to have to do some legwork to try to enfranchise these voters who we have an erroneous email or a ping back, because those are the ones who we actually need for our voting, you know. So
it's a database issue.
And we do have the database. Go ahead, Katie.
Well, if we send out this mailer and people attend our next meeting on Zoom, then they would be eligible to vote in June or July.
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
Maybe not May, but we could pull in a new group of people.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, this could be in our benefit too, you know, since people do have a lot of time. And like somebody was talking about earlier, Travis maybe, you know, getting the inner workings on, look, we're actually doing some shit, you know, other than being on these Zoom meetings, we're all, you know, we're figuring out a way to plug in. And I think no better way to get more people in is to show them exactly what we're doing. So, okay, so back to the yellow mailer. the language that we're going to have will be similar to what
Billboard or the other. We've got 2 reference points. We've got what our social media or what our campaigns are for the flyers and for the all that billboard and stuff like that. And then we also have what the the Jefferson West Side?
Northeast neighbors.
Yeah. Okay. And we have what those guys have. So we have, I mean, yeah, we have what they're doing already. So we can use both of those to kind of merge them together, I think, to make one cohesive letter that actually makes sense for our community.
Good.
Brett?
Can we somehow include an ask on the mailer asking people to give us contact information, like call the Google number, do something so that we can find a way to contact you for the election or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that seems to be a real problem for us when we need to have contact information.
Yes.
And
That's a great idea.
Probably hardly anyone will respond to it, but we might pick up 1 or 2 of the people we need.
Exactly.
I agree. And I think too, I mean, we've got to get better on this whole email thing too.
Well, and sorry about it. I was talking to the den mother the other day, and she was stating that we could use MailChimp. And potentially there is a way. I think maybe we should try it. It's free.
Yeah.
Yeah, the den mother was supposed to be on this call. She missed the last one.
Did you send her the contact, the meeting number?
It's in an Open Neighbors group.
She's not in the
Oh
Open
shit,
Neighbors.
she doesn't do the Open Neighbors group.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a better system for this.
Email.
Well, constant contact would be a way that we could do mass emails, or not constant contact, but MailChimp would be a way that we could do mass emails out, and I could send the information as soon as we got it.
Ian?
You did send out the info on the board of directors group, which Thea is still a part of, so.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, it just shows too that the more ways that we can get this information out, the better it is going to be, because I think it's so easy to get lost, especially in our group page. It seems like stuff gets posted in there, and then I had to dig and dig and dig to find even like the stuff that you shared yesterday, Ian. And so doing email, doing text, doing whatever we need to do to get it out to as much people. I mean, spending 20-30 minutes before the meetings start to make sure that everybody gets the right information is, I think, really important.
So, circling back with that, we have till Monday if we wanted to go out on the 1st. So, Chrissy?
I had a question for Anand. When it comes to the resources, I am part of a listserv of advocacy and outreach workers of Lane County. And Anand, I want to know if it's okay for me to forward some of those to you in case there are resources that you don't already have.
Absolutely. Yeah, if anybody else can think of it. I'm mainly focused on food resources, especially for our lower income, more vulnerable members of Whitaker. That's my main focus right now. But, if there's any resources that you can think of offhand, feel free, send them to me.
Okay. This is Margaret. Christy, is that in an easy format that you could just email to anybody?
I can forward it to more than one person, certainly.
I would like to have it just for my own use when I'm out and about.
Certainly. Do I have your email?
Probably not, unless you were at a meeting and I gave you a card.
No.
Okay. I'm just trying to think of it.
There it is.
Get that to you.
Don has it.
Closer.
Ah.
Tip it.
Oh goodness, Larry.
Oh, no. What are you doing? You coming back in? You gotta go.
Good job.
All right, I just excuse me. Just
You got
put
it,
the number
Kristen?
in the chat.
Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yellow mailer. Should we just kick it around on our board page?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we can add Christy and Margaret to the board page.
I don't think both Margaret's wanted to get added.
Oh, both Margaret's and we get it. Well, who would like to be added to the board page?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Excuse me. I thought it was just Christy. Oh, man.
Right there.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, does anyone else have anything for this evening?
Would you like me to see if I can get that hand washing station and porta potty moved to the parking lot at Maury Jacobs?
Yeah. And
Okay. I'll talk to some people and see if I can get that, see if we can get that moved, if possible.
and then also the porta potty next to our old parking lot, that didn't have a hand washing station.
Is that on Second or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it just seems counterproductive not to have a hand washing station with a porta potty.
I don't know.
You kind of faded out, Margaret.
Oh,
Whoa.
sorry. What's the it's Second and what's
Van
the
Buren?
across? That's what I thought. Okay, great.
I do have one request. The porta potties that are currently close to the restrooms there at the end of North Polk, if you're gonna move them close to the hand washing station, which is fine. I think the two of them should be next to each other. But could you also make sure that there's a sign posted on those restrooms, because they're closed, saying where you can actually go use the restroom?
Okay. That
None.
makes sense.
I thought the restrooms, the public restrooms, were open again.
I don't think so. I
No,
could be wrong.
Brad, they're not?
No, they're all closed.
they're not.
Yeah.
But if people go there looking for a place to go and there isn't any place,
They're going to go in the bushes.
it'd be nice if they knew what the alternative was and where it was.
So I just want to be clear when I ask. You want those moved over to the entrance of Maury Jacobs, or do you want them on that North Polk area?
I'd rather see them in the parking lot space where people can go to the restroom and it doesn't interfere with other things. By putting it where people are trying to walk by, you're just increasing the probability of contamination. So I'd rather
Okay,
see
so
it
you
actually in the
wanted it-
parking lot.
Oh, so you want it at the entrance, coming off of Fur?
Yeah, over in the parking lot off of Fur,
Yeah.
Actually
Okay.
in a parking space.
Okay.
You'll need signs because that makes it kind of confusing. It's not near the old bathrooms.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Well-
my point. Thank you, Katie. Was
Yeah.
people need to know where they are.
So I'll ask for signs and get that moved. And a hand washing station and Second and Van Buren if possible.
Yeah, also, is there any reason why we don't have a bathroom at Scobert Park?
You know, they said in the newspaper that it kind of got overlooked and they were going to take care of that.
It's still not there.
And that was 10 days ago.
Yeah. Margaret, we have a
Well,
lot of
that's-
people matter that's in Scobert Park. In all the corners.
Okay. All right, I will pass that along as well.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, at least temporarily right now. You know, the other thought I have, and I shouldn't even be thinking about this, is what is the sterilization of those porta potties? There's none.
I've watched the city staff. I've watched the city staff deal with them, and there's a level of training that's missing.
I was just thinking about that. I mean, you have no way to clean them in between people either.
I don't know what they're doing right now, but when they had some professionals clean the porta potties over at Camp 99 sometime back, they would go in there with a hose and just hose it all down. But that means everything that was in it ended up all over the ground.
Right.
So, you know, I don't know what they're doing, but yeah, that was pretty horrible.
I don't know. The more I start thinking about it, are we contaminating, you know, bringing people together in a contaminated area? Yeah.
Well, I think Brad's idea of having it in the parking space is probably a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
As long as people know where it is.
Yeah. And I mean,
it's not that far away from where it is right now. It's easy walking distance as long as people know it's there.
yeah, signs would definitely help. You really don't want that type of biohazard. Stephen?
If the porta potties had ultraviolet lights up in the ceiling.
That is true. That is true. That's what we're using over at the Eugene Mission. They're using the ultraviolet lights in the HVAC system.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody's going to do it.
No. That sounds like an opportunity for the porta potty people.
Yeah. Or it would just be something else that would be damaged that they would have to replace.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate to say, you know. Yeah, and you couldn't really put a spray bottle of bleach on the outside of all of them. I don't think that that's going to work.
Yeah, have an automatic dispenser on the ceiling. So every time somebody goes out, it just kind of sprays the whole thing down.
They do have those. They're very expensive, though.
Oh, wow. I didn't know.
All right. So we will meet again on next Wednesday, 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Before then, if anyone wants to meet Sunday to go over some last minute messaging for the yellow mailer, we can put something on the page about something on Sunday, just for a little bit to make sure we have it all hammered out.
Be like a little work group.
Just like small work group. But I mean, kick it around on our board page.
Yeah.
Especially the information that we want to update. You know, and the other thing too is like, you know, this term, reinventing the wheel. We want to make it as simple for people to obtain the information as possible.
And I think, yeah, just making it super repetitive with our message and making it, having all these different avenues and how we're actually communicating is going to be what helps drive it home, hopefully.
So the short term, we'll change the pinned group post.
We
Brad?
can have more than one pin group.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll put a draft up on the board page, and people can, you know, beat it up a little bit, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, and that's fine. I think we do need to continue to hammer it home with people. You know, like Ian was saying, as you could see, it's very difficult for some people to adhere to that. I did close down my salon in front of my house because I felt like I was contributing. And it really isn't the time to provide a place for people to congregate. You know, that's not what we're supposed to do. yeah, this sucks, and yeah, it's uncomfortable, but there's a reason for it. And I don't know. It was
Yeah,
just one of those things. But okay. So unless anyone has anything else, Christy will make sure we put you on the board page, and we can reach out to, who's the gentleman that isn't here tonight?
True.
Drew. See what's going on with him. Make sure that he's still wanting to, get on these Zoom chats. The other part of that too is, I guess, try to get as many people as you know to come to these Zooms. I think it would be a lot more fun to get some new energy and also to get some new opinions. But other than that, I hope y'all have a nice evening.
You too.
Talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Cheers. Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Bye,
Good
guys.
night.
Bye.
Everyone, see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Right.